Okay, so you saw the trailer of Gemini Man. I think that movie is not going to score more than an 8 out of 10 on your IMDb rating. So check out that rating against my analysis when the movie does come out. This movie stars Will Smith, who is an assassin who's probably trying to get out the game, who's being chased by a younger clone of himself, created by his handler, who's desperate to retire him. You know all about that. So why am I saying this movie will not get you more than an 8? It's directed by renowned director Ang Lee. Ang Lee has actually produced quite a number of movies since moving to America from Asia, where he actually started the filmmaking business or his filmmaking career. He produced Brokeback Mountain, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Pushing Hands, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, and the likes. Now, looking at Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you know this guy has got what it takes to mix action and emotions. That was actually an emotionally filled movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons, even though it had quite a number of scenes that were questionable, but I guess that was in line with the brief of the movie. But this is somebody who knows how to mix emotions and action, which Gemini Man is about. Will Smith is going to have to actually reach out to his clone and convince him not to kill him. That's probably the only way he's going to survive. So it's going to be a mix of emotions, because obviously when the clone finds out that Will Smith is actually an older version of himself, emotions are going to run amok and all that. And when you look at Brokeback Mountain, you know that Ang Lee has got an eye for those stories which run deep into society. He likes pushing the boundaries, so expect that from Gemini Man. I don't know how he's going to pull it off, but expect the unexpected. So that fact is a reason why I would want you to watch the movie. Something unexpected. It's probably not going to be as cliche as the plot suggests. I mean, a clone created to hunt down another clone and actually shut it down. We have seen it in other movies that I'm going to talk about, but I think also this will have a twist to it. Why I'm saying not more than 8 out of 10, because Ang Lee, good as he is, he's not like a top class director. He's in that second, third tier. So expect that movie to end on that level. And if it's a movie you're looking forward to, I suggest you watch it at home. Don't go all out to the theater. Probably try to ask a girl out or a guy out and go watch it. You'll probably be bored and look for something else to do within that movie. Just watch it at home. It's probably a movie you're going to watch, appreciate here and there, probably forget. As good as the trailer looks, there's a big chance that Gemini Man might actually flop, because Ang Lee is no stranger to flops. His movies Ride with the Devil and Ice Storm were box office bombs, not taking off at all and incurring major losses for his employers. What you have to know about Gemini Man is this film has been out there and people have been trying to release it for the last 12 years. It's not been released for various reasons, from people stating that the technology required to actually create an older version and the younger version of the same person, the technology was not there for movies yet. Other people also talking about the script not being satisfactory to various investors, and it has been reworked probably about 4 or 5 times. So that's another warning for you, red flag. Don't go to the movies with this one. Don't make this the movie that you want to go and propose to your girlfriend for, because you will not get good results. There's actually a good high chance of that. This is a 50-50 movie. So like I say, just watch it on any other night, but don't invest too much in it. Ang Lee has bombed movies before, and this movie has been forced out. If you actually want to look at it from that angle, it might also bomb. One thing that you would not like about Gemini Man is probably that the videography will not be top notch, and also the plot will be manipulated so as to push the story forward. As I already mentioned, the script has been written a billion times, and they've probably ended up with some compromises that they've accepted, which you might not find to your liking. What you'll also notice is this will emanate, or this will manifest in the form of some poorly executed scenes. 5 seconds into trailer number 1, you actually see that Junior could have shot Henry, but he didn't. That's manipulation of the plot so that the movie could go on. They could have actually executed that a bit better. And I'm thinking all this time that Junior was looking at Henry, going after him, did he not notice that this was the older version of himself? As a clone who's showing the ability to feel and remember, I'm thinking it should also click in his mind that Henry is the older version of him. But just by looking at him, this is another thing that I don't understand. I don't know, what do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section. In the 19th and the 20th seconds of the first trailer, you actually see the videography at its worst. First of all, why is that motorbike spitting fireballs? If you really look at that sequence, there's no reason why that should be happening. The second after, when Junior is actually chasing Henry on the motorbikes, you see that there's actually a red door in the wall along where Henry is riding, but in the following sequences that red door disappears, and the wall in which that red door is actually much higher than what it shows in the following sequences. It becomes much shorter, and the item that Junior's bicycle or motorbike, sorry, crashes into in the sequence is actually further forward than what the following sequences suggest. If you play those seconds, you'll see what I'm saying. Also, the question is, that bike was not supposed to crash like that into that item. I actually didn't see what it was because it was further forward than what the following sequences suggested, but they probably manipulated the scene so that, you know, the action part would actually come out. But there are people like me, the critique, who actually have an eye out for these things. And my question to you, if you could let me know in the comments, is how did Junior manage to get up so quickly right after the bike fell? How did he get up that quickly so that he could actually watch Henry riding into the sunset? That was not possible. And another thing that they could have done, probably at the cost of the level of action that they wanted to bring out, was actually that Junior could have actually gone off the high part of the wall and probably jumped down and continued to chase Henry on the bike, but he made it fall or let it fall for optical reasons. So that's some of the poor videography that actually is at play here. The clone does not look so good. I don't know what you think about that, but that's how I see it. They did not manage to recreate the young Will Smith properly. If you compare Will Smith at Junior's age in real life, look at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, look at the contours on his face. The one in Gemini Man, a bit too sharp. The complexion is just not right. He looks too serious. Yes, I know he's an assassin, but he's not really coming out like the young Will Smith, and those of us who know him are probably going to check that out. Also, if you look at a minute and 29 into the first trailer, when the van was actually hit from the front, how did it flip like that? Play it back and you'll see that some juju stuff was at play there from the director. So videography wise, it's not actually very good. The plot is also manipulated a lot, and this is probably going to contribute to you reducing the rating of this movie to the level that I've already suggested, between probably 7.5 and 8 as a rating. If it goes more than 8, I have failed in my analysis. I'm pretty sure that it will not get there. And another thing about the plot, who creates a clone and raises the clone, goes through all that rubbish so as to close the loop on an assassin later on, probably 20-25 years from then. That is a very big stretch for the plot. I think it doesn't make sense. There's so many ways in which you can actually kill a person, and I don't think there's an assassin who is that good such that he can evade the US government if they want to get rid of him, such that you have to create somebody who thinks like you. And if you can create something or somebody who thinks like you, it means you already know that person's tactics and you can train other people to actually deal with it. So the plot for me is pretty weak in that sense. It would be very interesting to see how Ang Lee actually pulls it off. Yes, I know he's got the skills, he's got an eye for the weird, he's got an eye for those angles that are unorthodox, and I think I'm going to watch this movie with my focus solely on Ang Lee to see how it's going to pull it off. But this is actually a stretch for a plot. I don't like it. I don't know what you think. As you know, most if not all of the plots or the storylines in Hollywood are played out and are being repeated and switched back and forth to create new movies. That's why they're probably not engaging us as much. Gemini Man is no exception. There are a couple of movies that I can think of that are actually of the same plot. You can look at actually Looper, which was quite a good movie, where in the future there was a group of assassins managed by somebody called Abe. So they'd actually get presented by face concealed victims from the future being sent to the past and being killed to ensure that the loop is closed. The last victim for each assassin will be their future retired self, who would actually be strapped with a gold bar instead of a silver bar, so that you can actually know that this is the end of the loop. And it was quite a good movie. It's actually the same plot. Also, for other movies which look at this whole clone versus real person plot, you also look at Star Trek Nemesis. You also look at The Parent Trap. You can check those out for the same storyline. You also notice in the trailer for Gemini Man, Junior is actually asked by his handler why it's hard for him to kill Henry, and then you notice that actually Junior is catching feelings with the whole matter. Will Smith has actually acted in another similar movie, which is I, Robot, where these clones or these robots actually showed the ability to feel. So this is not a new plot at all. It's probably played out. We're just going to see how actually they're going to serve this. The movies that I've mentioned that are similar to Gemini Man, such as Star Trek Nemesis, Looper, and The Parent Trap, also did not do very well with the ratings, with the best being Looper at 7.4. The other two were in the 6 points. So you might also get to then realize that my estimation of 7.5 to 8 might be a bit generous. These types of movies naturally don't do well, and this one actually has had trouble in its being birthed. So I think anything above an 8 will actually be a miracle for this. Now, looking at the fact that Junior said that Henry knows each and every of his moves, it means that these moves are coded into Junior, since their DNA is the same, right? So there's only probably 3 ways that this movie ends. Probably that Henry defeats Junior, or Junior and Henry defeat Clay Virus, who is both of them their handler, right? The first angle is that Henry finds a new way to do his job that will ensure that Junior does not see him coming. This probably would be the most interesting angle, as the second aspect is that somebody else who Junior does not know how to counteract or how to probably attack helps Henry to actually destroy Junior. Even though this angle, I don't think it's going to be very viable, because if you look at Henry's friends or accomplices in the movie, yes, they're probably intelligent people who have a skill or two, but they don't look very dangerous. The other angle is that Henry taps into Junior's emotions and makes him turn on Clay Virus, and then they kill him together, which I think is the most cliche angle. I really hope the movie does not go down that route. I think it will represent an anti-climax, actually dropping the ratings even further. So outside these 3, if Ang Lee manages to pull a different angle in terms of the ending, it's actually going to be a bonus for us, and maybe probably surprise us and make us enjoy the movie a bit better. But I'm thinking the first part where actually Henry finds a different way to do his job so as to attack Junior is going to actually be used. And knowing Ang Lee and the way that he wants to tap into emotions, I think one of them is going to die between Henry and Junior, or both of them, representing the fact that, you know, Henry was actually supposed to be retired anyway, and the job gets done, but both of them get taken out. I think the one way Henry and Junior actually help each other to kill Clay Virus is not as emotional as Ang Lee will probably want it to be. So I don't think that's going to happen. The angle, like I already said, with the friend assist is also not that emotional, not that touching. So I think maybe the first angle where, you know, Henry goes through a lot, probably reflects and gets deep into himself to find another way to do his thing, to relearn his job, to create a new philosophy, a new vision and mission of how to do things so as to defeat Junior, is actually going to be the one that's going to work out. I don't think Henry is going to die, because he's probably the main character. I think Junior is the one who's going to die together with Clay Virus, and this is the angle which probably has the most emotional impact. Probably Junior will now like Henry, and Henry will have to kill him because already it's not right to have a clone of yourself, and Junior probably will find out that he cannot stop chasing Henry because of the way that he's programmed, no matter what he wants to do about it or what he thinks about it. That's the most emotional angle, Henry killing Junior after they've probably created a bond. That's Ang Lee for you, but like I said, Ang Lee is up for the weird, so let's see what it'll bring up. Okay, they also mentioned in the trailer that Junior is Henry without the pain. I think this is actually where Ang Lee does most of his work, and if he's going to impress us, this is where he's going to get us. I think he's going to expand on the pain that Henry is feeling and make it a major component of the movie, probably with flashbacks and the likes. But I think the theme of Henry's past and his pain is going to run parallel to the movie and actually show maybe why he's supposed to be retired or why Junior was created. Probably Clay Varys was hoping that a Junior without Henry's pain was going to be the most effective assassin ever, since Henry was very good at doing what he does. So probably the cliche life story of an assassin is probably his family his family was killed when probably the people that he targets came back and had some revenge, or probably the love of his life died of cancer or something like that. Expect Ang Lee to give us something with more substance. I think if he gives us something cliche along those lines, it's actually going to be very disappointing. So expect Ang Lee to do a lot of his emotional work on Henry's personal life and his pain. I'm actually intrigued to see what that can actually come up as, and I think if he blows us away there, it will do well to actually bring us to his side in terms of ratings for this movie. So that's my reaction to the Gemini Man trailer. I think the movie is probably going to range in scores from between 7.5 to 8, nothing more than that. It's a movie you can just watch to pass the time. Probably will be an okay movie, not something you want to get too excited about or plan on your calendar about. Ang Lee is there, so expect this to be a mesh of action and emotions, and expect on the emotional side of things the plot to surprise you, because Ang Lee always manages to bring out some side. But although I'll have to warn you, some of the things that Ang Lee has created in the past have actually not been very realistic, and this has resulted in a few of his movies bombing, probably at a 20% rate. And the fact that Gemini Man has taken so long to come out, you know, when you plan something for so long, like even you, when you've got plans to go out and party, if you talk about it too much, it usually doesn't go well, and Gemini Man is in danger of actually suffering this similar fate. The plot is not anything new overall. This the clone versus clone. Like I already said, it's been done before. Star Trek Nemesis, The Parent Trap, etc. So don't expect anything new on that front. Like anything else in Hollywood, do not expect to be surprised. So we'll review the movie if we have time, or if there's anything interesting to talk about. But the main thing you want to rate the critique by is the final rating on IMDb. I said between 7.5 and 8 to actually narrow it down, but it actually has a bigger chance of going below 7.5 than actually going above 8. So my recommendation, watch it at home. Don't actually go and invest too much in it. Cheers.